Hey everyone, it's Nick with Us versus Herd. If it's your first time here, you like the content, hit subscribe. If you want to get notifications for when we go live, tap the bell. And if you want to join the UvH fam, our community, links are below in our description, along with our to our Discord, Facebook group, and our Patreon. If you are here right now, say what up. What up? What's going on? How's everyone doing? Try something here. A lot of people up in here. Maya, Tan, Billy, Rewords drove fast back from the shack and made it just in time. That sounds kind of weird, but drove back fast from the shack. Who else were we talking to? Rewords, Julio. Who else was I talking to here? Mark, King Jacob, Late Night Grind, HD coming through. J Rob, what's going on? How we doing? Yeah, a little bit of a late night. Usually post my watch list. I usually go live after market close. I wasn't able to today, and then I figured, hey, let's do it. Curtis, aka Mr. Jim Brown, what's poppin', man? What's going on? Glad you could join us. You made some. Is your name Curtis or Jim? I don't know which one to call you. But you made some good trades today, man. Congrats. King Jacob, I feel like I should change my name on YouTube. I feel bad when people on live stream call me King Jacob. Are you a rapper? Are you an artist? Force on time. Yeah, I made it on time. Man, a lot of people here today. Oh, it's Curtis. This is just a throwaway YouTube account. Oh, it's fun. it's like when people start like, oh, this is my throwaway Twitter. This is so I can go hate on Trump posts, and then I go to my real my real handle for my friends. Tactical options, what's going on? Reno, man, a lot of people coming out tonight. What's going on? I didn't announce I was going live except for in the Discord, but I guess a lot of people are hanging out. I don't know if you guys are watching the NBA games or if you boycotting that with our boy Pence. Queen Jacob works. Queen Jacob works only on the weekends, right? Rob G, what's going on? I think SPY will drop to 298 next couple days. It's been trying to drop. It's been trying. Yeah, SPY is, right now, futures are basically flat. ES/ES down 50, Dow's down 21, NASDAQ up 4.5. We're all ready for the wisdom of the week. But yeah, SPY was pretty choppy today. Like I said, I was saying this all day. Like SPY has been fighting just to stay flat. Made money on some JPM puts. Nice. Yesterday we dropped, but I layered in some short positions today on Alta and Caterpillar, and I got shook out of both. That was my last attempt for short. I made some money today going long in Chipotle and Tesla on that afternoon bounce, but that was pretty it. It was a pretty slow day for me in terms of trading. But what I want to get to, today's video or the stream, we're going to go for the watch list, talk about Amazon earnings. Anybody here trade Amazon? Do any spreads or just stayed out entirely? My stance on it. Everyone asks me this, and my stance on earnings is I used to play earnings before earnings were released a lot, and I find that my track record in terms of profitability, I do much better trading that stock after the earnings comes out, like Tesla, and some of the other things, yeah, you're like, well, you could miss out on some big gains and stuff like that. But honestly, I mean, anything can happen in those reports. Anything can happen in the conference calls. Anything, you know. So I find, when I'm trading, what's more repeatable income for me, what's more sustainable, because you know how to build your account over time is doing, having a repeatable process. And you may not be making humongous trades all at once, but as long as you have consistent profits, you're going to be growing your account. I trade TQQQ. Nice. Yeah, I haven't, Glenn. I'm just saying. I was just saying, like, mostly the markets were pretty flat. I mean, there were quite a few movers, like, but I mean, in terms of the indexes, I mean, Nasdaq. I will say Nasdaq was the Qs and Nasdaq were moving, but if you're looking at SPY, SPY intraday swung $1, $2 at the most, which I mean it's okay. I'm a little tired tonight. SPY going down. Kelly, I'm a bit confused. I took an Amazon put today. 1612 strike for 85 cents. Unsure. Should I wait for it to drop more? When does it expire? Bought at oversold and sold overbought. Yeah. Well, Glenn, you're a pro. You're a pro. You're a pro trader for sure. Thoughts and ideas on deep spreads. But Amazon reported, and we were talking about this. I mean, Amazon has been having some issues over the last year. I mean, if you take a look at their chart, I mean, they had quite a bounce, but up in like the mid 1900s and then 2000s. I mean, they've been having issues, and then last quarter was what has set it down for its downtrend, which is just couldn't get back up. I mean, every bounce was sold and it couldn't get above 1850 up in here. So in terms of Amazon, I mean, we kind of saw that they were potentially going to have some issues with like AWS because Microsoft reported slower growth as well on Azure. And if you guys aren't very familiar, I would suggest like trying to get familiar with Amazon and Microsoft's web services, because AWS, I mean, makes up a lot of revenue for Amazon. And they also offer weaker guidance moving forward, which, I mean, they typically do offer weaker guidance in terms of Amazon, but this is one of the worst the stock has done in years. Yeah, I mean, they missed on EPS. AWS was down. Let's see here. Amazon's cloud business meanwhile had $9 billion in quarterly sales, falling slightly below analyst expectations of $9.1 billion. AWS operating income totaled $2.26 billion, up 9% from a year ago, but below the $2.55 billion FactSet consensus estimate. For the past 4 years, AWS has provided the bulk of Amazon's operating income. So, just be aware of that. So slowing growth could be a drag. So, in terms of one thing that I do want to say about like the cloud services is, a lot of people don't know this, but I also own an IT business, and I do utilize AWS, and we pay a lot of money every month to AWS. However, what you need to understand with AWS's service, even though maybe your cloud imprint may grow, the goal of Amazon and AWS is for the cost of their services to get cheaper. So what I mean by that is you may launch a server like right now, let's say in 2019, and Amazon's goal is to make that server cost you less money over time. So if you kind of think about that, sure, they're adding more services, they're adding more customers, but at the same time, AWS's goal is to lower the cost of their cloud infrastructure for their customers. So Just be aware of that they may be growing, but at the same time they may be adding more customers, but at the same time they're charging less. But as they scale, they're able to do so, right? But Amazon, Amazon in terms of the weight right now for the S&P, their weight is 2.9. Microsoft and Apple have 4. Their weight is 2.9, and on the NASDAQ, their weight is 9, and Apple and Microsoft are 11 each. So, we are going to be feeling some impact of this, but it really depends on what the other companies are going to be doing tomorrow in terms of the overall market. Not pro. Hey, man, you're doing all right. You're doing all right, Glenn. Short on PanW tomorrow, yeah. We can talk about that. But Amazon, if we go to now, if we go to the 2-year chart, you can also see back in August of 2018, we also got stopped out here at like 2050. So last August and September, it got stopped out here as well. So you want to Amazon is one of those names that people want to pile money into. You know what I mean? People always want to pile money into it, but at what point do we get a reset? Because I brought this up in the chat today. Before we get into let's get into Nick, would Stringles pay out a decent amount if you did Amazon? Yes, because it moved beyond the expected move. The expected move was like 60 or 69, somewhere around like $70, and it moved like 120, right? Just watching them as I was getting for the quick money. But if you look here, the Fed has been looking like they've been doing some quantitative easing here and pumping money back into the market since September. So, one of the things that I want to say that in regards to why aren't we seeing SPY dropping? Why aren't we seeing stocks falling? Like Boeing had terrible earnings, Caterpillar had terrible earnings, yet their stocks continue to go up, which they're currently on my watch list. And then you see things like this in terms of the Fed and their balance sheet. Why did they start pushing money back in, right? So it's kind of fishy. If you look at the Fed's kind of held off from 2014 through 2018. Their balance sheet was pretty much unchanged. And then, as you guys remember last year, the Fed said, hey, we're going to be reducing our balance sheet. And then the market started to get all crazy. And now we're at all-time highs again. And that balance sheet is their assets are starting to go back up. So just something to think about. Just something to think about. So I do believe the market's going lower, but there's a lot of powers that be that may not there's a lot of powers at B that may not allow this to happen within the time frame that we need it to. It's going to happen regardless. Like a reset or a recession or anything like that is going to happen in its own time. People can kick the can, they can postpone it. Obviously, the longer they kick the can, the longer they postpone it and postpone the inevitable, the worse it's going to be. I say, let's just crash this thing. Let's have the reset and let's get on with our lives. Yeah, Iron Condors on SPY been paying, yeah, because it's been moving like what 50 cents to $1 a day and closing flat. So, however, VIX is, I mean, premium is pretty cheap right now. VIX is like a 13. So, Glenn, I'm trading options. I did buy some Beyond stock today at 96 a share. So, we'll see what happens for more of a long term play. If Beyond drops like to 70, I'm looking to if Beyond drops like 70, I'm looking to add to it. So I went in small. If it drops more for earnings next week, I'll add to it. But those are, I don't know what you guys are thoughts on what the Fed is doing. If you're here right now, say what up. Quite a few people in here. But on Amazon, you know, the expected move on Amazon was, the expected move on Amazon was 70, plus or minus 70, and this dropped, you know, like what, 120. It did get to 16.18, so hard to say. However, I have seen like Amazon and Netflix and those kind of things do stuff that was crazy. Like this could fully recover intraday tomorrow. I'm not saying that it will, but it really could. Rob G, thoughts on gold? The Fed is delaying the inevitable. Death cross. Yeah, I mean, you got to be careful about trading. You got to be careful about trading Amazon. I mean, I think just stick very short term. I mean, options have been moving on Amazon. You just got to be aware of the wide bid and ask. But I mean, if we're looking at, what are you looking at? Yeah, I mean, gold is trying to push higher here after hitting like the 1470 area, 1485, but I mean it's still in a descending pattern here. So from its highs, like from 1566, you know, it really needs to get above this 1525 area to get more bullish. I want to say, you know, it could run to 1525 and drop down again, or I mean things could get crazy. I mean in terms of the markets, I mean, there currently isn't a deal, a phase one deal. No parties have signed it, and I don't know if you guys find it interesting, but ever since earnings season has started, there's been no talk of China. You know, every day Trump just tweets about who the whistleblower is. Well, future gold's flat right now, man. So King Jacob. Hope it works out for you. GLD. Yeah, this is still descending. I mean, for GLD, really needs to break like to 143. Start reversing. What's SPY gonna do tomorrow? Guess it depends what Amazon wants to do. But right now everything is really flat. You know, they've been on Fridays, they have been tanking the market. So, you know, last couple of Fridays they've been pushing volume in. Last Friday the Dow was down 250, 200 points, and after being flat, like Mondays has kind of been reversed. So Mondays have been really flat. There hasn't been anything going on Monday, and then Fridays they have been. I think, why are they scared that there's going to be China news? Are they scared? I mean, somebody on Fridays, I don't know if you guys have noticed this, but Fridays have been higher volume, and also we've gone down on that higher volume. One thing is Square. Square launched stock trading on cash, and they are allowing fractional shares. So just be aware of that. Square has been kind of having a tough time this year. Sorry if I'm talking a little slower, guys. I'm a little, I'm running a little bit empty tonight. Square after last quarter has really been having an issue trying to get back up. They've been descending as well. I mean, even here at like 60, they've been breaking below 60 where it's bounced in the past, and this is definitely still bearish. I do think that it could run up to like 64 area here, make a retest, but good news. But they really need to deliver. So I'm going to be watching. I've been watching Square. Square has been moving really nice intraday. However, you really got to catch it. Like today was pretty nice. However, yesterday, I mean, you had to be careful here. You didn't want to get sucked in long here. I mean, it's been having an overall bad week. I mean, it went from 64 down to 57, but it has been moving intraday, and so it is a pretty good day trading stock, and the options aren't like horribly expensive. I like how you analyze the charts. Well, we got Glenn, we gotta take a look at what's going to happen here, and the only way we can tell is kind of look at the trends. Now, the only thing that was frustrating over the last few months is you do your analysis and you have a good idea and you have a good feel of the market, and then one tweet or one political news bombshell, whatever, and that technical analysis was just thrown in the trash. I've been trading a long time. I like your, but appreciate you, Glenn. Appreciate you. Also, yeah, Hafiz, I'll do Netflix. Do you think Lineman Mike? Do you think Twitter will come back? No. Twitter has not. Twitter lowered guidance. They're struggling. They're in big trouble. Last time, let's go back a couple of years ago. They've been doing fairly well this year, but if you look last year, if you remember this, last time they had a really big drop on earnings. They were trading around the same area, like $40-ish a share here. They had really bad earnings. It didn't come out of that cycle for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 months. 10 whole months. So just be aware, they lower guidance, they're having issues. This thing is far from over. However, it's chilling at 30 here, so I don't know if it's going to go much lower. It might be very range bound here for a while. And it really, Twitter really needs a catalyst. I had shares on them that I sold in 2018. I'm no longer a shareholder of Twitter, but Netflix. Let's go into Netflix. So Netflix has been chilling here. The one thing is it hasn't been moving, but it's been kind of consolidating in this area of like 265, 270, and it's been kind of wanting to push higher. It did push higher on earnings, but that news with Verizon and Disney actually did a lot of harm. I didn't think it was going to do that much damage, but it really did. I think that'll recover, probably push to like 290 area, but I think that until Disney Plus comes out and we get some numbers from the other streaming platforms, we're going to have a hard time evaluating Netflix's worth for the long term, because we don't know if people are going to cancel subscriptions and go to Disney Plus and go to these other ones. We don't know if they're going to keep all of the subscriptions and still watch Netflix. We don't know if it's going to take away viewership. We don't know if Disney Plus is going to flop. We don't know if Apple TV Plus is going to flop. We don't know. So best we can do right now for Netflix is trade the ranges. Just be mindful. The closer it gets to Disney Plus, the Disney Plus launch, the more hyped up that service is going to be, and probably more like hit pieces and deals and mergers not mergers, but deals for Disney Plus for different vendors and stuff like that will come out. I'll take that little rally after the earnings disaster you point out. I hope that happens again. Yeah, I mean, one of my biggest trades was when Netflix dropped. I don't remember. It was huge, and I made like 500% in like 1 hour because Netflix. So it was Netflix. Netflix was just running, and it was insane. It was insane. Netflix dropped and it was just running nonstop back up, and made a lot of money. And a good thing I sold because that option was worthless at the end of the day. So yikes. One thing I did launch today, so I just want to talk real quick if you guys have a minute. I did launch today is a podcast. So I'm going to be doing weekly podcasts about options, about entrepreneurship, and kind of the things that don't necessarily fit in like a video format. I did launch that. So we're going to be right now it's live on Patreon exclusively. So I'll be premiering each episode on Patreon, and there every single episode of the podcast is going to be hitting Apple, Spotify, YouTube, all the streaming services next week. And the very first episode, I go through my entire journey of when I was a kid to kind of what molded me into what I wanted to do in terms of entrepreneurship and options trading. So it's the first time that I ever, I guess, shared my story. So it's kind of nerve-wracking, but if you guys are interested, I will make another announcement when it launches on all streaming platforms, but I just posted this for the people that are in their Patreon. So definitely appreciate you guys for supporting me. Do you buy spreads during low IV periods like now? I do have a debit spread on Boeing right now. That's not really working out. I had a debit spread on Boeing yesterday that worked out pretty well. Made some money on it. But today Boeing is ripping up again, even though they had terrible earnings, terrible guidance. But yeah, King Jacob, through our Patreon, we are also going to be giving merch away and all that stuff as well. So trying to change the flow a little bit. One thing I will say about Boeing is it's just consistently making higher lows here. Even though they missed earnings, they had terrible earnings and all that, and the reports and all that. You know, Boeing is always one of those stocks is like, they're always talking about CNBC is like, is Boeing now a buy the dip opportunity? And every time they buy the dip, every time they buy the freaking dip, they don't let it die. It's getting a little frustrating. Buying 50 in options in the morning, Twitter. Nice. Sorry, I'm missing some. J. Rob, tomorrow's quad witching. Kelly, TLT, sorry, I'm missing some of your H7. Oh, Mark, CGC. Sorry, Mark. Are you still here? Sorry, man. I'm trying to. There's a lot more people than I thought that were going to be on tonight. Honestly, I thought I was mostly just going to be kind of chilling by myself, going over in a watch list, but you guys are okay. So we got CGC, Kelly. I'll do TLT. What are the other ones here? Okay, Mark's still here. Okay. Okay, so CGC traded a little bit. I had one position on. I closed it out this week for near break even, but CGC, I'm waiting for it to really try to break above like the 23 area here. I don't know if it's going to get rejected or not. So right now it's starting to inch up, but I'm seeing if it wants to go to 23 because then I'll trade it to 25. It's kind of what I'm looking for in CGC. Kind of all the pot stocks are getting. I don't know if they're getting hot again, per se, but there is some interest in there. And as you can see, like on Tilray, there is more volume. Like today had more volume in there, up about 7%. More volume kicked in today than they have in a while. So something's going on with the pot stocks that people are starting to get interested in them again. I mean, obviously this has been an amazing short, and people. I mean, this was definitely a FOMO stock, but you know, maybe they're starting to come to value. it's hard for me to understand the pot industry right now because it's kind of in its infancy. I know in Illinois, weed's going to be legal in January of 2020, so maybe that'll give a hint of kind of what the industry is going. But in terms of places like that are more established, like Colorado, Michigan, those places, I don't know. If you guys have any insight on the pot industry, let me know. I'm not too familiar with it as in Illinois. We don't really have any infrastructure for that over here. TLT, I think TLT was dropping today. The bonds. Yeah, I mean this is just it was just getting rejected here at like 140. Yeah, it just keeps getting stopped out here ever since it dropped here on October 15th. It can't get over 140. A couple days ago, it went down to like 130, 138. So it might be developing a very tight range here, kind of like down in here, and maybe hoping to break out, but ready to hit up some dispensaries. No comment. King Jacob, I never succeeded with BA. The stock is a headache. I think that in terms of BA, I mean high institutional ownership, and I think a low short float. So if we go to let's ask the stock bot what we got here. Yeah, short float's only 1%. Institutional ownership is at like 70%. So, you know, stocks like that, like Boeing, Caterpillar, you know, if you look at CAT, yeah, short. These stocks are hard to short with this high of institutional ownership and the short float, you know, and that's, you know, compared to, let's say, something like Tesla. Where, I mean, your institutional owner, I mean, it's still pretty high, 60%, but the short float is 25%. So just be mindful of that when shorting stocks like Caterpillar and Boeing. It's not a fair game. Smoke them if you got them. Yo, Abel, what's going on, man? King Odin. We got two kings in the house. We got King Jacob and King Aiden. Odin? I'm Odin's son. I'm just thinking about Thor. Just because you said Twitter won't come back, it dropped 21%. Could bounce a little. Yeah, Glenn, it could drop. I'm just talking about long term. I'm not talking about like in Twitter for tomorrow. I'm just saying it could bounce between 30 and 35. It's probably going to be in a tight range. It's not going to grow. It's just going to kind of chill. Home Depot is a stock that I have been trading quite a bit. It is off its highs a little bit, only by like $5. It did come down a little bit on the weak housing reports. I know that. But I mean, I think honestly, I would love to see it back down here like 225 range. I don't know if it's going to happen, but we'll see. I mean, Home Depot has been really, really strong. Wayne, what's going on? Cost. Just want to make sure I hit everybody's stocks here. I did I said CGC, TLT, TAN. I got you with the long-term stock series. Okay, Costco. Costco is another one of those, kind of like Home Depot, where it's a strong retail stock. Man, they had a major dip. I haven't traded in a couple weeks. I was trading it on, right in here, this area, but I haven't traded it in a little bit here. Yeah, I mean, I think honestly, we're probably going to come back around like the 287, 288 area. Let's see, what were the let's see what these 297. Yeah, so the 297.50 puts went from 28 cents this week up to 317. Not bad. Mike 35 Twitter, please. Your mouth to God's ears. Luis, what are your thoughts on Boeing? Luis, we just did Boeing. That's what happens when you're late. I've been streaming for 35 minutes. Oh boy, things are about to get realistic, Kings. Glenn, BAC. 1 year chart. 1 year chart, BAC. So the banks are reporting good earnings. The banks are growing in terms of revenues and profits, and Bank of America, I have a hard time trading Bank of America, honestly, just because of the lower price stock. I have more success with JP Morgan and Goldman Sachs. Obviously I would have shorted it at like 31, and now it's above that. But with strong earnings, I mean, let's see. Yeah, I mean, next real like resistance is like 31.80. I mean, I honestly don't like any of the banks up here because I feel like there's going to be a rug pull, but I mean, that's just me. I wasn't here in the shower. Well, at least you're clean. At least you're clean. I appreciate it. I appreciate you being clean for the stream. Trades far from the money have crazy premiums. HGB on Tesla. Yeah, J Rob, you just gotta kind of pick a direction and stick with it. If your fundamentals and technical analysis are on point, you could hit plays like that as long as things are moving. Tan had 20 shares of BSC, sold them off for a small loss. Let's see here. Apple and JPM. Now, Apple has earnings coming up. Let me... So Apple's going nuts because of the iPhone 11 and the success of the iPhone 11. However, they haven't really released anything regarding that. And what was it, a couple quarters ago, didn't they say they're going to not specifically call out how many iPhones and stuff that they sold? And people were getting scared because they think that the iPhone sales are slowing. But as you can see here, we're now here at all-time highs on Apple. They have what earnings? No, they don't have earnings till November 7th, so we have 2 weeks. So 2 weeks. I just feel like in terms of Apple, it's a lot of hype. I mean, they offer a good product. I have the iPhone XS. I don't feel the need to upgrade, but there's a lot of people that older iPhones that the iPhone 11 is also like it's the ugliest iPhone ever, but that doesn't mean anything. I mean, they're probably doing fine. I mean, they've been doing pretty well this year in terms of the growth. I mean, they went from 142 to 244. When Apple keeps pushing all-time highs like this, you just got to buy the dips. I mean, you don't want to get in the way of this. This is not going to retrace. Have I heard of the Disney phone? No. JPM, when it's at all-time highs and keeps making all-time highs, you either don't trade it or you get on board. You have to kind of pick one. Shorting it's not an option. JPM, kind of like GS. I mean, JPN had a great quarter as well. So based on the great quarter, I think they're going to push. I think the banks are going to push higher as long as the Fed lets them. Yeah, I mean, if you guys remember anything, were you guys trading in 2017? If you guys remember anything about 2017, and you were seeing charts like this where things kept pushing new highs, all-time highs, 52-week highs, and it seemed like every day we were making new highs, and people kept shorting and shorting and shorting and shorting, and it never worked out for them until like not until end of 2018, right? So you don't really want to get in the way of that. You either don't trade this, or you hop on board the bull train and hope you stay afloat. I mean, that's the thing when it keeps pushing all time highs like this. When it keeps pushing 52-week highs and it keeps pushing, every single dip gets bought, and the dips are small. Even today, I mean, today we finished red by only 7 cents, but as you can see, went from 125 down to 124, came back up to 125. You got to be careful. All right, Luis, we did square, but I'll do it again. Luis, we did square. Luis, I talked about Square. They're launching the trading through their platform, stock trading in fractional shares, hoping to take some business away from Robinhood. What I was saying down here, I do think that it has room to go to like 64. But right now we need a catalyst because it's been stuck in this really just bearish downtrend since last quarter. Terrible, just terrible. I mean, terrible last quarter. So they don't have earnings till November 6th. So, yo, JJ, I'm not sleeping after this, man. I'm gonna keep it rolling. Yo, if you're here right now, say what up. If you guys are enjoying the content, a lot of people are tuning in. Really surprised. Hit the like button. Surprised so many people are joining into the live stream this late. Their wives are probably asleep and they're just in bed like I do, like scrolling through their phone looking at charts all night. Like, all right, I'm going to let you in on a little secret. So my wife goes to sleep and I'm on my phone. And so after all day of trading, after all day of doing of trading and looking at trades and doing videos and talking about the stock market, she goes to sleep, and the first thing that I do is look at the futures and I look at the charts. So, and then on busy nights, I mean with the stock market, not with anything else. On busy nights, I pull out the iPad Pro, and I go to work. My wife's out with her boyfriend tonight, so I'm good. J Rob, that's why I'm getting divorced. Nat Gas UNG. Yeah, we can take a look. I don't really trade the Glenn. These are not Bono glasses. These are to reduce blue light, and so my eyes don't fall out of my face for the amount of time I look at the screen per day. And they're also great in bed when you're looking at your phone or your iPad or whatever. I mean, they definitely take off a lot of that blue light and definitely reduce the strain. Because I was having to take like eye drops and all that, so I just bought these off of Amazon for like, I think they cost, I don't know if they cost like $60, $70, but I have amazing vision, 20/20 vision, never needed glasses, never needed anything. But due to the amount of screen time that I have, I needed to reduce that. UNG. Yo, Tan, $60 to reduce pain and to improve your life. It's good. It's good, man. UNG, I mean, it doesn't look too exciting for me. It just looks like very low volatility. Starting to make some higher lows here, just barely. But I mean, it could break out the 20, but I mean, you're talking about a 50 cent. I mean, nat gas is just destroyed all year. But let me see the 2-year. Or what was it last? But coming up, as you can see, like coming up in the winter months, I mean, it could explode. Could explode. I mean, you might want to buy some calls. Like if you think nat gas is going to go up for the winter, you might want to buy some like January. January calls pretty cheap. Buy like the 20s or the 21s. 21 calls here. 21 calls don't look bad. January 2020, 5,000 volume on them for today. Yeah, HD, I got you. Glenn, sometimes I take people too seriously. I guess that's what happens when you're an introvert. You have a hard time reading people. Pan W. I forgot, Kelly. I'm sorry. Pan W. Yeah, last quarter was actually pretty decent for them in terms of their earnings. I mean, there was a slight they missed on EPS, but I think they raised guidance because I was looking at this, but I didn't trade them. I mean, I think honestly, this is probably going to go to 230. Looks like it has a lot of momentum. My wife's boyfriend. How many of your wives have boyfriends? What's going on here? What is this? This late night stream just turned into the stocks for swingers or something? What's going on? I don't know what to say. I don't know what to say, but I'm sweating right now. I'm sweating. HD, I got you. I'm just yeah. Let's look at rewords. Let's look at AMD. Let's look at AMD. Tomorrow night on stocks with swingers, we have we're looking at Match.com and Tinder. Anyways, AMD is getting pushed up. I mean, LRCX had an incredible quarter. If you're looking at the chips, Intel. So LRCX. If you're looking at Intel, INTC had earnings tonight. Also beat expectations and raised guidance. So if that's any indication, I think that AMD, let's see, when do they report? So they report earnings next week. So the 29th is on Tuesday. So I mean, there's a good chance they'll beat as long as Intel's not eating their lunch, Wonder if Microsoft might be bullish spread since they reported good earnings, but is it moving? Yeah, we can take a look at Microsoft. Yeah, J Rob, they killed the premium in Tesla once it was flat at the end of the day there. Yeah, that was a good one. Facebook. HD, I promise Facebook. But I think that this in terms of AMD real quick. I mean, 32 has been some resistance over the last since August. So earnings could really push it. I do think that if the other chip stocks are an indicator, it's probably going to do well. But like I said, as long as Intel is not taking too much of AMD's business, should be okay. Facebook, Facebook again, kind of like AMD, hard wall here at 190. They went down hard on the investigation for, what was it, like 47 states are investigating them for whatever. So I think Facebook is going to have a hard time because there's just a lot of bad press. A lot of people are out to get Facebook right now, and that's kind of the issue. And they have earnings next week. So they have earnings Wednesday. So I think honestly, Facebook's probably going to be trading sideways until Wednesday. I mean, it may go between like 180 and 190 in here, but I think there's not going to be a lot of movement until we get some numbers from them. That was funny. You're good, brother. I'll be tuning in. Thank you. Appreciate it, Mike. Look at Netflix. I'm in a small amount. Glenn, I think Netflix is going to go up. I actually have what do I have on Netflix? It's not going well. Um, yeah, I have the 295 calls for next week, and it's not really a position anymore. But I bought those on Monday when it was starting to go up, and then we had that news on the Disney, and I thought that was going to bounce up. And it looks like, to me, it looks like Netflix wants to bounce up, but every bounce when it does, it gets sold off. I think we're gonna have a crazy up day on Netflix soon, but it hasn't happened yet. I mean, we're gonna have a day that goes from 270 to 290, 280, 285, but I don't know. I don't know if it's gonna. I don't know if we're gonna get there in time. Thoughts on Buttcoin? I don't have any crypto right now. I actually wouldn't mind it dropping Bitcoin dropping to 5K. Now, Luis, MTCH. So, Luis, I got you here. I'm trying to keep these tickers straight. Well, yeah, we were talking about Match Group. Match, I mean, I think it was a bounce play here at 70. For me, it's not a whole lot of range. I mean, what do these... They actually have a pretty good volume here. They only have monthlies, so if you want to go out to November... I tend not to trade stuff that far out, but... Sal. Why are you so angry? Did I miss a comment? I'm sorry. Sorry, I'm slow. Luis, I'm slow. Ariana, truthfully, I wouldn't worry too much about this quarter, but the next ones I'd be paying attention to for sure. Oh, Sal, what kind of impact do you think Amazon will have on the NASDAQ 100? I own 2 times inverse NASDAQ 100. Sal, we did talk about this earlier. I actually have it right here. NASDAQ 100. They're weighted at 9, so I mean it's pretty highly weighted. I think that they're gonna. I mean, I think they're probably gonna buy the dip on Amazon a little bit. I don't think it's gonna close down 120. I think it'll probably close down 60. We'll see what happens. Place your bets now. What do you guys think? Do you think Amazon's gonna go lower? Do you think Amazon's gonna stay the same at down 120, or do you think it's gonna recover some? I think it's gonna recover at least 60 points. I think it's gonna cover at least 60 points. Sorry, I try not to miss comments, but tonight seems to be a little bit more busy. Recover. King Jacob says recover. Yeah, I mean, I would hope that this would be my ideal situation for tomorrow for Amazon. We get in, it digests for 30 minutes to an hour. We buy calls, it rips up 60 points. That would be the ideal situation. That would be the ideal play, because premium dies down, everything kind of gets situated, things start to digest, and then we go in hard, get some calls, and make some money. If Tesla was an example of what's to come, I would suspect the overall market will be being pump holiday season. Yeah, I mean, hopefully we get a Santa rally this year, because last year Our Santarelli sent us -5% on the year. Yeah, Jeff Bezos is a free man in terms of I mean, he's not free because he has a ginormous business that owns a lot of his time, but he's single or he's with somebody. I don't know. I don't keep too much up on the relationships of TMZ. It wasn't until I watched the documentary on HBO for Warren Buffett that he had like 3 wives, so I didn't know. Elon Musk is the king of dating. Disney, yeah, Disney. I do like Disney at like 130. Tan, I got you. Yeah, I mean, I like Disney right down here. It'll probably move up. Amazon long-term rip, Prime going up. All right, guys. Just bought some puts on Nick. Anyways, I definitely had a blast hanging out. Definitely appreciate you guys. You know, we'll be trading the markets tomorrow. If you're not yet a member of our Discord, hit the link below. Join our Discord. It's free. Definitely appreciate it. I'm gonna be jumping off here. You guys stay safe, stay green. It's us versus herd. Have a good night.